You know the vibes. The Denver Nuggets are your 2023 NBA champions, and you're listening to the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K23. Myself, Mamutsi, alongside me as always, the one and only Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, how you doing?
Well, I'm looking at the newest, latest, and greatest Denver Nuggets fan. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you could see this. I wish you could see this.
You can on youtube.com/hoop genius podcast.
I wish you could see this.
I got my Nuggets jersey on. I've had this. Okay. I didn't get this recently, BJ. Look at this. Look at it. It's a champion edition Carmelo Anthony baby blue Denver Nuggets jersey. I've been doing this for a hot minute. Shout out to Hoopin' and Luton for hooking up the jersey. On the throwback store on the jerseys too. I'm trying to get the J.R. Smith version of this on the shiny blue. That was hard to find. But anyway, enough of that. BJ, Denver Nuggets, NBA champions.
How about that? How about
would
that?
Have thought? Initial thoughts and reactions to them lifting the Larry O.B.
Well, congratulations to the entire Denver Nuggets organization. What a phenomenal achievement. You know, the first is the very best, and this is a first for them in many ways. All the great former players there, David Thompson, Alex English, all the guys were there, and the current players. I mean, what a group. I mean, they put together a really nice team. We always talk about roster construction. Give those guys credit, and let's not forget about, their star players. And Jamal Murray and Jokic, those guys were just simply incredible. Jokic was what an amazing season. I mean, he had a historic playoff run. What he did individually, but just team, what he does, the camaraderie, the way he plays, and Coach Malone, he just connected with this team. They were connected all season. They took care of their business in the playoffs. They were very focused. And the better team won, Mo. I mean, that's the bottom line. The better team won. Give the Miami Heat credit. They played well. They played hard. And they were just outmatched. I mean, they were just outmatched in every way by the Denver Nuggets. And it was great for them, great for the league. The humility in which they won with, it was just amazing. Because, they were like, it's not like, hey, well, we expected to be here. I don't think anyone other than the Denver, well, you, because you got the Denver Nuggets uniform on. You thought this, you called it. But
I'm gonna go full LeBron and say, yes, I did. I'm gonna go full LeBron and say I saw this 12 months ago.
Yeah, so but give them credit though. I mean, they were just, I mean, they played with a sense of desperation mode tonight. And it's funny, as I was watching the game, I was thinking, Mo and I don't agree often, but we both said 5 at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this series, that's the only one we got right, I think.
Yep.
Through the whole
playoffs.
But we got this one.
Saved
right.
the best till last.
Yes, but it was a great job, and it's going to make for some interesting picks for next year. I can tell you that. I mean, everything's a little cloudy right now.
Well, we're talking about the Nuggets, and they're all celebrating there. So I got to bring the Hoop Genius family together. We got a special guest joining us right now, a special guest, Mr. Christopher Thomas, who's been on the podcast a couple times before. Let me get CT in here.
All right.
Because the main man, Christopher Thomas, he spent a lot of time with the Denver Nuggets around the organization. He knows a whole bunch of players very well on this team. So I thought we'll get CT in here to talk a little bit about what this championship means to this group of players, because, they talk about trusting the process in the Philadelphia 76ers. But really and truly, the Nuggets are the epitome of trusting the process. I mean, they've had this plan. It was like a 9-year plan that they had. They had this plan for absolute years, and they believed in it. They saw it through. And do you want to know what's crazy to me, BJ? Do you remember back in 2016, there was a lot of talk around the Denver Nuggets trading Nikola Jokic. And do you know who he was going to be traded to?
Detroit Pistons.
No,
Ooh.
the Boston Celtics.
Oh, wow.
For the third pick or the third pick in the 2016 draft, which became Jaylen Brown. And had that draft gone through, there he is. CT's in the house.
Oh God, he's got a Nuggets jersey on too. Oh, man, I didn't get the memo. Obviously, I didn't get the memo.
Hey, bro, my guy is not even with the organization anymore. My two guys, John Wallace, G Harris. But I got so much love for Jokic. I got so much love for people up in there. Like, yeah, I'm celebrating. I'm a fan tonight.
Yes.
Usually I'm not. Usually I'm about my players and about my people. Tonight, man, go ahead, Denver. Go ahead.
CT,
Nice.
man, listen, I know you spent a lot of time with these guys. I know you know a lot of these players very well. Just how much does this championship mean to this group of players that they got there in Denver?
Well, for Crunky, it was as expected. Otherwise, heads gonna roll. You know, they were on a time block with him. Truthfully speaking, like dude's a winning ownership, but for the players, for that organization, it's everything, bro.
I mean,
It's everything. Like small markets aren't supposed to win. Denver, like Jokic, not they killed him with the MVP thing, and he just, keep it moving. He's the best player in the league right now. Come on.
I mean, I've got to jump in here and say for all our fans in the UK, you heard the name Kroenke. I know you guys will recognize that name, the owner of Arsenal Football Club, who were actually on track to win the Premier League this season. However, they bottled it in devastating fashion and they crumbled when the pressure came on. So my team did really badly as well. So I'm just going to also hate on Arsenal for a little bit here.
Who's your team? Manchester.
I'm Chelsea. I'm Chelsea. No, never
Chelsea.
Manchester. Come on, dog.
Of course.
I'm Chelsea.
Well,
but
my bad.
But we had a horrible season. So anyway, moving on from that. This game tonight looked like it could go either way. It was a very scrappy game. It was like a WWE wrestling match turned into a basketball game, right? BJ, when you were watching this game, you talked in the last episode about how much pressure is on players in these situations. You said, the champagne is there, the balloons are there, the trophy is there waiting to be lifted, and how that can affect players mentally. So as they were going back and forth, the Heat had a 10-point lead, the Nuggets took the lead, went back and forth right down the stretch in the fourth quarter. What were you expecting the outcome to be of this game as you were watching it unfold?
Well, you can see that, Miami came out with fight. They came out focused. They really came out with the idea they wanted to delay the celebration. Okay. You want to spoil the party. You walk into the arena, as I told you before, I think we were talking off air, the balloons are all there. The trophy is sitting in the hallway. You see, you have the celebration, you see all the guys with the hats, where those hats are sitting in containers in the hallway as both teams are walking by. The shirts are already in the building. The confetti is already put up in the top of the arena. Everything is there for the party, and the only thing that's spoiling it are those 12 guys or 14 whatever guys are there for the Miami Heat. Those were the only guys that could delay this process, if you will. So it was an uphill fight. However, what I respect about Denver is they hung in there. They came out and played with a sense of desperation. And let's not forget, guys, just a couple years back in the bubble, they were down 3-1. They did it twice in the playoffs. They came back from 3-1. So they know what that feels like to be on the other side and the sense of desperation that you need. And as we all know, just being around the game, the hardest game to win is the closeout game. So this was going to be a very tough game, to be expected, but give them credit. They hung around. Denver did hung around. And then they finally, just kept turning it, kept grinding the game out. And their best player was the best player on the floor at the end of the game. And I thought that was the deciding factor. And give their defense credit. I mean, they got some stops, some very timely stops when needed. Bruce Brown, who played terrific. I mean, I would love to be his agent right now. You know, he's going
Oh,
to be. Oh, did I say that? Did I say that? No.
Hey, get me certified. We can make this happen.
Yeah. No, but he's gonna. You know what? He played big for them. Played very well for them. And but you know those guys, they were a terrific connected team from start to finish this year, and they were deserving of it. So, you know, congratulations to them once again, and I'm looking forward to next season. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yes, sir. Well, sticking with this game for just a minute, the Nuggets got off to a very shaky start. They had 4 turnovers in the first 3 minutes, and that didn't go away. They finished the game with 14 turnovers. The part that stood out to me, they went 5 of 28 from the 3-point line and 13 of 23 from the free throw line, only hitting almost 50% of their free throws. CT, can you explain that to me? Did you put that down to nerves? Do you put that down to the altitude? Because even Nuggets players say they have to reacclimate.
No, that ain't altitude.
That just
that's straight. No, BJ can speak on this because he played at that level, but that's nerves, that's mentality, that's anxiety, that's first time fit. Like, there's a lot going on tonight. And how Denver first quarter wise came out, they never shot the 3 in this series any good, overall.
Word to Michael Porter Jr.
About him. Let's park that. Let's park that because I really think, and the game was solidified when Bruce Brown came back in.
Yeah, right.
Instantly, I'm
that
checking
offensive rebound
instantly. God, to be kidding me! It's like, what takes you so long to try to trust in a guy that you unfortunately you can't trust in him at this level. Playoff level, winning championship level, good player, great kid, high potential. There's levels to this, and this whole run for Denver shows that, man, there's so much that Jokic, he's not done anything different. It's just people just don't appreciate. He's done all his numbers. You check his stats, the last 3 years, this is what he does. And the triple doubles are, a hiccup to him. Jamal Murray playing at this level, passing, not shooting, scoring mode is everything. A Bruce Brown, a Chris Braun, however you're trying to say it. Like, Denver put together a situation where it's like, yeah, this is gonna be hard to deal with the rest of the teams in the league because they don't care no more about individual success. They figured out, hey, we can run this. We can run this couple years. We got a nucleus. We got situations that everybody can buy in, stay in. It's gonna happen.
They've done a great job constructing their roster. They've got the dynamic guard of Jamal Murray and then the big fella, of course, Nikola Jokic. And then everyone else on that roster is largely a very athletic wing that can shoot the basketball and play defense. BJ, you're talking a lot about next season and looking at the league and the moves it causes. Do you see teams now loading up on big bodies to try and stop Nikola Jokic?
Absolutely.
Or how do you see this progressing and affecting the rest of the game?
I mean, do I see? I mean, how else are you going to do it? I mean, you don't have a choice.
Where are they going to get these big bodies from? Because right now there's been no one in the league that can even contain him.
Well, traditionally, Mo, what you when you were building teams, okay, which has changed over the last 10, 15 years because of the success of the previous decade with the Golden State Warriors, you always had 3 centers on a team. You always had 3 centers on the team, and you always had 3 point guards on a team. Now they've kept the guards, but now they've made them into combo guards. Everyone's looking for combo guards because now we value shooting more than passing. Right now, you can't play or switch with Nikola Jokic. Okay, I know that's a thing that we do in the NBA now, where it's kind of happened over the last 10 years or so. You can't play zone because he's too skilled. Okay, you can't just let that big body roam around through this series. Okay, and you can't switch with their 2-man game with him and Jamal Murray, because Jokic the thing you love about Jokic is he plays like a true big who happens to have skills to play out on the perimeter. When he switches, he never settles for a fadeaway shot. He never settles. Now, there's no way you can switch versus him. It's just take that out of the equation. And even if you have a big on him, you can't double him with a small.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Shaq in that sense. If a guard double Shaq, Shaq couldn't even see it. Jokic is so big, you have to double him with another big body. So if you're going to play against him in a 7-game series, you have to be able to at least meet the physicality of the game that he brings. He's already forcing you not to switch at all. He can post up any big in this league. You can't guard him. And if you are going to take away something, you got to double him big to big. That's your only help.
You can't throw 2 defenders at Jamal Murray like the Miami Heat tried to do in this series because
you
he's
just
good
can't
enough to pass out of it.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. So Jokic,
and he's passing out to Jokic.
Yeah, and you got to construct.
The worst thing.
You're going to have to construct your team to say, I can't stop this. However, I have to meet it and be able to have enough capable bodies to play, right? You're going to need 18 fouls to play against Jokic in a series. Okay, Jokic is going to get.
That's a true story.
You're going to need 18 fouls to play against him, and you got to have to use him wisely. You can't stop him. Like, he's that great of an offensive player. I mean, he's so unique. He's got a floater. He's got a runner. He's been going to CT school. He's got the off leg runner, the off leg, the I don't know what this is. They call it the Larry Bird, but he just looks like he's just slinging it, but that works. He's got a post game. He's got touch. And of course we know his ability to pass. So I mean, he's got a package that you got to just say, okay, I'm going to live with that. And you just need enough big bodies to play against him because Bam is a big man, but he's too small to play against Jokic.
Yeah.
Everyone on the Heat roster. Go ahead.
But it's everybody in the league. Even if they, if the Lakers would have brought back Dwight Howard to play his shenanigans against Jokic like he did a couple seasons ago, it wouldn't have worked because Jokic isn't fazed by the shenanigans. He's not fazed by schemes and concepts of defensive whatever. He's phenomenal, bro. Like it's unbelievable to watch him. And I go back to, of course, with G. Harris going there, watching them pick Jokic over Jeffrey Laverne, and then my man for Portland. Like, who knew? Like, how they make that pick? First of all,
Jokic was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, and now he's an NBA champion. Do you know what's crazy? Is someone's digged out a picture of Nikola Jokic at 5 years old in Serbia wearing a Denver Nuggets a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today. That's
crazy.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
How the universe
Is that real?
work like? Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy how the world. I want to give some love.
5 games, 5 years old. There it is.
I want to give some love to some of these guys on the roster. I want to start with Uncle Jeff Green, finally getting his championship ring. Jeff Green, heart of gold. Personal story. When he was on the Wizards and he came over to London a few years ago for an NBA London game. There was a young friend of mine, Andrew, who was battling with a type of cancer, and we told the Wizards about this story, and straight away Jeff was like, put me in touch. He FaceTimed Andrew in his hospital, and then when he came over, we got him down on the court before the game to meet him. He must have took 20 minutes out of his warm-up while everyone else is getting shots up to sit here, talk, share some advice, and all of these things. So I'm super happy for Jeff Green to get this championship, but also even though we make jokes, Michael Porter Jr. and of course Jamal Murray for battling through some serious injuries to get to this point. And they said in the interview with Jamal Murray after the game, a year ago today you couldn't walk, and now you're lifting an NBA championship. So like the resilience of those guys, and then look at the guys that the Nuggets traded for: Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who came in and played their positions perfectly. And I think especially Aaron Gordon, it really shows you that in this league, sometimes it's not about who you are, Sometimes it's about where you are, because
Shoot,
this
and who
fit
you with,
and the
and
defined
who you
role
with.
that he had. Yeah, because in Orlando, let's be honest, what did he have around him? He didn't really have anything around him. So of course he was going to take a different role. Whereas he's coming to Denver, he's got a defined role. You're going to guard the best players in every series you play. You're going to guard Jimmy Butler. You're going to guard Kevin Durant. You're going to guard LeBron James. You're going to even guard Karl-Anthony Towns or Anthony Edwards. And you're going to do a great job. And then on offense, teams are helping off him. He's learned how to knock down that three. He's using his athleticism in a dunker spot. And then you look at someone like Bruce Brown, who they picked up in free agency. 12 months ago, Steve Nash had that man standing in the dunker spot, contributing nothing to the offense and using him essentially as a defender. If you watched Bruce Brown last year, you would have no idea that he's got the ability to handle the ball in pick and roll situations, that he's got the ability to shoot the three like this.
Well, we knew that, Mo. He played in Detroit. We knew that. We knew that.
There you go.
We knew
Say
that.
that.
But
Say that.
we knew that.
If you watch enough
but
basketball,
Steve Nash didn't
you know
get
these
the
dudes
memo.
don't come out of nowhere.
I'm just kidding with you, Mo. I was just kidding.
That's the funny part. If you watch enough basketball, these dudes don't come out of nowhere. Right. Bruce Brown been good. He been a dog. He been a hardworking, plug-in type of dude that is gonna help anybody.
Yeah.
And it just so he fits this team like a glove, to where it's like, that's exactly what that zing off the bench like that, offensively, defensively, energy, some grit, some feisty to it. Like, the only thing I'd miss this whole series, no fights. No one took it personal. It didn't get personal.
Like, if we're going to be honest, this wasn't a competitive series. I mean, the Nuggets won 4 out of 5 games, and the one game Miami won, Jamal Murray had the chance to send it to overtime anyway. So it was very close to being a sweep. The other player I wanted to talk about, because I've been working on an article about this guy for my newsletter, which you can subscribe to through the link in the description, is Christian Brown, right? The rookie for the Denver Nuggets, who we don't often see rookies contributing like this on this stage in the NBA Finals. Most rookies would be glued to the bench. But I believe that Christian Brown is the blueprint of how contending teams are going to draft moving forwards. So Denver picked him 21st overall, and they were drafting a guy who was an NCAA champion. He played 3 seasons in college. And now with the CBA moving the way it's moving, and you're not going to be able to sign veteran minimum guys on the buyout, you're not going to be able to use that mid-level exception. Teams are now going to have to find guys that can contribute. And BJ, I know you and I have spoken on this off camera. It's about drafting winning guys who know what it takes to win. Because a lot of, even the top prospects, they've never won on any level. They may be extremely talented individually, but if you actually go back and watch the NCAA championship game that Christian Brown won, even in that second half, he kind of turned the game around for Kansas with his offensive rebounding, with his cutting off the ball. And you've seen him replicate exactly that on the biggest stage in basketball in the world, the NBA Finals, in his rookie season. Do you think we're now going to see more guys being drafted after 3 years of college, 4 years of college, rather than picking guys on potential and hoping that they can develop?
Well, I would love to say, you're spotting out a trend. However, you just never know. I mean, think about it. The best player on the floor was drafted in the second round. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
So, you just never know. But what I will say is, to all our young listeners and NBA fans and certainly our listeners, Mo, here, is it's not when you get drafted. Next week or in a couple of weeks here, you're going to see a lot of guys get drafted in the lottery. It's not when you get drafted, it's where you go.
Yeah, say that.
Okay, that's the key. A lot of things have to come together, right? You're going to see here on draft night, you're going to see a lot of talent. Okay, and there's 3 things that has really we've all said since the beginning of time, since this league and all of us who watch this league religiously, is you need timing. What you saw tonight, Jeff Green, and it for timing. This was the right time for him. You need a little luck. Okay, this kid could have got drafted anywhere. Talking about Brown, and of course you do need talent. Okay, and sometimes that talent is hard to see. If if we knew what we knew now, Jokic would have been the number 1 pick in the draft. Okay. but we didn't know. So those 3 things, when they do come together, like you see right now, you're going, wow, look at this team. What a great team. I mean, you took Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, and it just fits. Everything just fits right now. However, a lot of times we'll see a lot of talented teams, right? We're not going to, go down the list here in the NBA, but you need luck. You need some luck. And a lot of times you just got to get to the right place at the right time. I saw Aaron Gordon in high school, and I saw him in college. I thought he was going to be a good player. I remember when he got to Orlando, I was like, oh, he got some talent. Did I see a 6'8" power forward?
And he plays like a traditional power forward as well.
Yeah, and who's going to be a lockdown defender? I can't say I saw that. Mm-hmm. I knew he could dunk and jump in here, but I mean, he was making passes and shooting threes. I didn't see that. I mean, this guy is coming to his. I mean, he's a star role player. He's a star in his role. He's a star role player. I saw Jamal Murray. I liked him. Did I see this? No. Like, if anyone said they saw this, no, they're not. I saw him in Kentucky. I was like, oh yeah, I saw him coming out up there in Canada. I saw him a little bit. Did I see this? Jokic. Real quick, guys. It was some years ago. I want to say about, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years ago or so. There was this little kid that came. We ran a basketball camp in Serbia. You know who that kid was? It was Jokic.
That's
at
crazy.
The Derrick Rose basketball camp.
Yikes.
Okay. So did I see that? No, I didn't see this. I didn't, so, these kids, sometimes the universe gets it all together. And it's been incredible to watch these kids all develop and play and come together. And when you have timing, when you have a little luck, and of course you need the talent, and when you see it in its right place, hey man, it's a great thing. Now you got to give their front office credit too for identifying those types of players. The resiliency of not one guy, but Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray to have significant surgeries. I mean, one had a back surgery, right? That's why he fell in the draft. Right. We got him out of the lottery, right? Michael Porter Jr. I mean, you talk about a talent coming out of high school. He was arguably the best player in high school when he was coming out. He was that guy, right? He was that guy. And then he falls in the draft because of his back. And then Jamal Murray, it was just, all right, God, I remember, if I remember correctly, I think it happened at Golden State, if I remember correctly. For some reason, I want to say, I think I might have been watching that game. And that was just a devastating injury. And for him to come back like this, I mean, arguably he's better than what he got. And he was pretty good then. And, like I always say, I think he's the best player right now who hasn't made an all-star team. But that's got to change quickly here. I mean, he's up there now with wherever you got the elite point guards in the NBA, Jamal Murray's got to be in there now.
He's there.
Top 5?
Yeah, he's got to be wherever you got your elite, top 10, top whatever. He's in there. He may be different than the other guys.
But I think
he's there.
Playoff Jamal Murray and regular season Jamal Murray are two very different players.
Well, they were the best team this year from literally start to finish.
He's been. That's the thing about Denver. They've been so consistent.
Yes.
And we need an amnesty period on these awards, end of season awards. MVP Jokic. I mean, really? What are we talking about? And to your point, BJ, Murray, you gotta be first team all NBA.
Yeah, I mean he's got to be somewhere in there.
Something where you can't not appreciate what Denver just did in this season alone. In particular, like with the legacy LeBron and all that fanfare with the Lakers, with KD and Booker and all that magic that they had, took them down. The upcoming Timberwolves, who are going to be pretty good once they figure it out and let Anthony take over the team, of course. Like they just got to do it. But Denver plowed through the regular season for the most part.
Right.
and then plow through the playoffs as if hot knife and butter. Like, all right, we'll take a loss here and there, but we got this.
They lost one game against the Heat, which they could have easily won. They lost 0 games against the Lakers. They lost 2 games against Phoenix when Booker and Murray just went for historic scoring performances. They lost 1 game in the first round. And then in the regular season, this is why I had question marks over them. It looked like for the last 2 months of the regular season, they took their foot off the gas. Now, looking back at it, it's like, okay, they were just preparing themselves for the playoffs. They didn't want to go all out. They'd already got the number 1 seed pretty much locked in.
I contend that's Jokic getting his name out of everybody's mouth for MVP race. So that got ugly.
Yeah.
And when Jokic doesn't play, the numbers don't lie. They're not a good team. They go from first in rating efficiency, to almost dead last.
Except for this finals, because when he was out the game, the team managed to hold it down even without him because everyone took their game to another level. So
that's called the playoffs, bro. It means everything. Regular season, like, all right, tomorrow night we got another game. We fly out and like, bro.
You know, they
proved some stuff.
Talking about right time and right place, though, B-Day. Ish Smith, NBA champion, 13 teams and 13 seasons. How about that?
What a run. Like you said, you know what? That's an incredible run by him. I mean, just for him to persevere and play in all those different systems. I mean, we got to get him on the podcast just so he can give us the scouting report. I mean, this guy knows every play ever ran in the NBA for the past 13 years. Think about that.
Man, I feel sorry for his real estate agent. He's moving house every 12 months.
Oh, no. He's getting over on real estate. Jeff Green is the same dude.
Yeah.
DeAndre.
But I'm saying that, KCP in a lower level of that. Like Ish Smith and Jeff Green have traveled, to every end of the NBA and been highly productive, winning players.
Yeah.
Quality men in the locker room, in the community, That's different. When you seek out guys that they're not only quality, you hang them on the roster, but then they also can contribute. We didn't get to see Ish, but guaranteed, dude can still ball.
One of the things that we don't talk enough about, we talk about the talent and the great plays and the great players, but the professionalism it's a real thing. And the professionalism of Caldwell Pope, Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, Ish Smith, DeAndre Jordan. I mean, these are true professionals. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you can make an argument. They may not be the most talented players on the floor, but for anyone who understands what it's going to take to be a champion, you better have those type of players in your locker room, complimenting your star players. You have to have those professionals, and those guys are true professionals. And Jeff Green, I mean, those guys all throughout the playoffs, Aaron Gordon, those guys all stepped up when it was time to step up and played their position, right? We always talk about star players have to be stars, and they should get all the credit. But those role players have to be stars in their role too. And those guys all stepped up. I mean, DeAndre Jordan got in the game tonight, in the closing game. Think about that. I mean, this is stuff, we take for granted. I mean, we're going to talk about Jokic and Murray and what they did and how historic. But those role players, Caldwell Pope, man, I mean, this guy did the same thing for the Lakers. Did the same thing here. Okay. So now you're starting to say, okay, this guy is a true, he's a professional
winner.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you want to win in this league, we're all looking for the same thing. We want guys who can guard multiple positions and make down and be a knockdown shooter. Well, he's done that a couple times now. Okay. Next question with his game. This guy is a key contributor to a championship caliber team. That's what he does.
Man, and DeAndre Jordan as well. I watched an interview the other day. They were talking about, even though he doesn't play, they were saying he knows every single play that the other team is running every time down the court. And to have that experience on the bench, in the locker room, is invaluable to a team if you want to make a run deep in a championship. I want to hit you with some stats real quick. Jokic, first center to win MVP since Shaq in the finals. Only 4 players have ever averaged 20 or more points per game and 10 plus assists per game in the finals. Those players, do you know who they are?
I'm gonna say
Wilt.
Oscar Robertson's got to be one, right?
No, he's not one of them. In
Wilt.
the finals, 20 and 10 in the finals, 20 points, 10 assists or more in the finals.
Larry Bird.
Nope.
Who you
Wilt.
got?
We got Magic Johnson.
Ooh.
We got Michael Jordan. We got LeBron
Ooh.
James.
What?
Oh.
And now Jamal Murray.
Oh,
Mm.
Crazy. Nikola Jokic, the first
Mm.
player in NBA history to lead the playoffs in total points, rebounds, and assists. First player ever.
and assists.
Points, rebounds,
Oh,
and assists.
Number
Led the,
of the most
assists.
entire playoffs.
The key categories, boy. What everybody's
Crazy.
striving
Yeah.
for. That's what he does.
And one thing I wanted to say on
Unbelievable.
Jokic is his defense as well. Everyone criticized him. Okay, Jokic can't be MVP because he can't win in the playoffs. Well, that's not true. Jokic can't be MVP because he's a bad defender. Well, that clearly is not true anymore. Even though it's not blocking shots prolifically like a Rudy Gobert, maybe, he is still very effective defensively with his positioning, his hands. His hands are elite. They're kind of stripping the ball, getting those weird deflections that he does, and his feet in a weird way, just kicking the ball when it looks like the other team
Hey,
are in
bro,
a situation.
it's his rebounding. It's his defensive rebounding. That's his defensive superpower.
Yeah,
Like you
16
get
rebounds
one
tonight.
shot at it with him on the floor. I mean, you got to watch when they say defense. They're looking for Joel Embiid's emphatic blocks. You know, Giannis's emphatic blocks. Everybody's block is defense or steal. You discount the possessions maintained with the rebound, and that's what Jokic does.
Absolutely.
And it's incredible. Like he is. I wouldn't say a joy. It's a blessing to the NBA because he can care less about all the fanfare. Dude just wants to win. Like I guarantee he's on a plane tomorrow back to Serbia.
Back to see his horses.
You know
huh?
what I'm saying? Like he's that dude. He's like, hey, this all
They
good.
cancel all flights back to Serbia until after the parade.
Right.
But after
They're
that parade,
smart.
he's going in the
Hey,
car
bro.
right to the airport.
That MVP
right now.
trophy, that championship trophy, that's in Serbia. What's the Tuesday or Monday? So Wednesday, all that's in Serbia. He's that dude.
I'm mad at it. I'm mad at it. Congratulations to the Joker. BJ, any closing thoughts as this season comes to an end?
Well, it was a wild season. I mean,
Crazy.
it was a wild season because I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I really didn't know who was going to win it this year. I didn't really have, at one point I thought it was Milwaukee. Then all of a sudden, it was always in the back of my mind, well, the Warriors aren't out yet,
Yeah.
And
then the
Boston
Lakers
jumped
after
out
the
early.
trade.
Yeah. Then the Lakers had the best, defense in the second half of the season. And Denver just kind of
and
stayed
Phoenix
there the
got
whole
KD
time
as well. You thought maybe they
Phoenix
could pull it
got
off.
KD, and you were like,
Boy,
yeah.
The Sixers
So
had the
it
MVP.
was a wild season this year, and it was a great season. But like I said, in the end, I think the best team won. And Joker, he was the best player. He was the most impactful player. I mean, he just, we talk about rebounding, yes. You talk about scoring, yes. You talk about passing, yes. And he was sensational and just a big time player, made big plays, and they were deserving to be the champions this year. But this season took us all on a ride because, Mo, you really felt, I know you would never admit it, you really felt your Celtics had a chance.
No.
I thought your Celtics had a chance.
Nope.
I really did.
I was
thought
thinking
they
about
had a
this
chance.
earlier. There was a tweet that said, what was the moment you thought your team could win a championship? And I never believed in the Celtics all season long because I thought the 3-point shooting variance is just too much for me to believe in. The only time, it was only for one day that I believed in the Celtics. And it was the day when Jason Tatum had the worst game of his life in a regular season against the Sixers and then runs full court to hit the game winner. Do you remember that one? That was the only moment where I thought that they could do it. But aside from that, the reliance on 3-point shooting was way too much for me. I couldn't buy into that. But now they got new assistant coaches. They got Sam Cassell. They got the guy from the Bucks. His name's escaping me right now. So we'll see how
Charles
they run
Lee.
it.
Charles Lee.
That's right.
Charles
My
Lee,
apologies.
yeah.
But CT, any closing thoughts from you on this season?
Yeah, the season was the NCAA version of March Madness, year long.
That's what
Like
tonight felt like, especially.
I mean, but it was the refs sucked from early on and sucked all season, and then in the playoffs, all of a sudden, we get what we expect. Stay out the game, let them play, and we still get some suspect calls, but
like that 3-pointer by Jimmy
part,
Butler tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the NBA trying to put that thumb on the scale. Like, hey, can we just get one more? Like, don't anybody want to be in Miami one more time? Like, but the season was cool if you're a basketball fan, because even though load management and all the drama that certain players presented, all the drama that came about,
Draymond.
You saw, yeah.
Sorry,
Kyrie. Sorry, but it was so drama filled that you had to watch. Even I probably counted 30 games I watched where it's 20-point lead. I go use the bathroom, walk my dog, come back. It's flipped. It's a 10-point lead for the team that was down.
Yeah, that's always
and
against
it's like,
the Celtics.
okay, that's crazy, right? But I also feel like history this season, and of course with LeBron, but for the first time, well, one of the first times since a long time, watching this season, and particularly with Jokic, I can feel how people felt watching Wilt breaking records nightly, setting records every night, every season. And that's what it was like watching Jokic this season. Like, man, this dude, every game is a potential NBA record. And it's like, okay, that kind of gives you a little bit of pause, gave me a lot of pause, because it's like, yeah, this was a good season because you got one of the best players in the league proving he's one of the best players in the league. And it's, if you believe in stats and analytics and everything, look up his numbers. If you just want to watch him play, watch him play. It's undeniable.
ESPN, are you listening?
but it was several players, like the run KD had, the run Booker had, shooting wise. Like the NBA was beautiful this season. Despite all the drama and some of the dumb stuff.
Absolutely. I'm going to put you both on the spot here. Before we see the draft, before we see free agency, before we see any trades, I need your picks for the 2024 NBA champions and who's going to be MVP next year.
Oh, gosh.
Toss up.
Go ahead, hit me with some names.
So go ahead, BJ. I feel it's a toss. So here let me say this. I feel the NBA is forever changed because Miami, in particular, proved that don't turn it on until after All-Star weekend, All-Star break, and then we'll even fiddle with barely getting in, but we want to be 8th seed. You know what I'm saying? Like load management was one thing. Now it's, okay, if you're a season ticket holder, good luck. If you see your player, your stars, or the stars of the opponent in your city, like it's not gonna make sense. So that's an unfortunate part. But then we get the value of seeing some kids that probably won't get time, won't get to shine normally. They'll get some time.
New stars will be fun. So who you got, BJ? You think the Denver Nuggets can go back to back?
I'm going to say next year MVP is Jason Tatum.
Ooh.
I'm going MVP.
Okay.
And I'm going to say the Nuggets are going to run it back. I think they're going to be that much better next year. And the reason being I say that is because when you win one the first time, everyone in the league is saying, "Oh, they're just lucky."
Yeah. They're still hungry.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be like,
hungry.
"Okay, they just got lucky." Everyone's saying, "Well, they didn't beat the Warriors."
Yeah.
Well,
They
well,
would have
the
destroyed
best,
the
the
Warriors.
best.
for the
Hey,
record.
hey, think about it. I'm gonna tell you what all the teams in the East. Well, the best team didn't even come out of the East.
Yeah.
That's what they're all saying right now.
Yep.
Joel Embiid is like, well, they're playing against the Miami Heat, the 8th seed. They're,
right.
a
It's gonna
play-in
be
team.
something. Right.
Then Milwaukee,
I suggest Embiid shows up in game 6s and 7s.
and then Milwaukee's gonna be like, well, we weren't held, we didn't get through. So I think there's a lot to prove, but I think what happened tonight is probably what will happen next season. Michael Porter Jr., the game that he played tonight, he'll probably have like 30 to 35 of those games next year in the regular season. Because there's always a role player who takes a jump. Like Michael Porter Jr. showed you what he could be on a consistent basis.
his shot wasn't falling, but 13 rebounds, 3 assists.
And the kid Brown now will get significant minutes in the regular season
if they can keep him. Is he gonna get some money?
Well, he just got there. No, Bruce Brown. They're going to keep him. I'm talking about the other kid, the kid Brown they just drafted. Yeah, he's going to be. Bruce Brown's got to come. They got to run it back, and they'll probably be able to add something to it because there's always going to be that vet who's if he's going to take minimum, he wants to at least have a chance to win. So he'll go there. So I think they'll be better. Joker has one of those games where, he's going to age gracefully because he doesn't play with any athleticism. Like,
he's only
going to
28.
lose a step. That's what I'm saying.
And Jamal Murray's only
26. So I just think they'll coast through the regular season. They'll probably be just as good or better if Michael Porter Jr. plays, like he can play because he is that level of a talent. And then I think they'll run it back. Aaron Gordon is going to be, and I just think they'll be better, And you know what, Jamal Murray, we can't forget Jamal Murray. This is his first season back from an ACL.
Yes.
Yep. So he should be better next year because normally you give those guys 2 years to find out whether they can return back. Well, he did it. He's a year ahead of schedule as far as that. I mean, these guys now are starting to come back from injuries like that, like nothing ever happened. So he'll be better, and they'll be more confident, as far as going on the road, so forth and so on. So I think they're going to run it back, but I'm going to say Jason Tatum should win the MVP. I think he'll be better putting it together because he was in the running.
He was top 5.
Yeah, he was in the running this year. I don't know what he finished with, but the first half of the season, he might have been, top two or three guys.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the season. So those are my early picks without knowing anything.
CT, who you got?
Jokic, MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
And then Denver because Jokic is like watching the PGA, like the golfers, the good ones. They play forever because the game is what it is. Jokic he's going to be 75 playing at the Y in Serbia somewhere, still killing people. You know what I'm saying? He'll hit the first bucket and the game winner, and in between he's doing what he does now, rebounding and passing. And that's a forever skill and ability. And I just think Denver, and I've been a little bit closer than usual because of, certain players, definitely Gary Harris. And so I've seen this for 9 years building, and I've seen them go from not making the playoffs forever, almost 2 decades, to losing literally in the last game of the season. One time on Russell Westbrook's last heroic MVP season shot.
Yep, and that was for the final spot in the playoffs.
And so it's like when you see that and they come back, and when they get into the bubble and they make it in the finals, that team, it's like, okay, they're building to where they're building championship contention. They're not building, we want to be good regular season and we're cool if we bow out in the playoffs at some point, first round, second round. So I just see Denver's got a, and they just made some couple years in advance trades,
Yeah,
draft picks.
I hear it. I mean, I got Jokic going as MVP because I think all the reasons they had to vote against him are out of the window now, and he's still going to be producing next. He's going to average a triple double or thereabouts, and the Denver Nuggets will probably have the best record or top 2 record in the Western Conference. For the championship, I'm going to pick the Boston Celtics because
Of course.
because my reverse jinx didn't work this season when I kept picking against them. So now we're going to the other end of the spectrum and I'm going all in. And I'm saying they're going to figure it out and stop being such an unserious team. But that's a conversation for another day. I just want to thank everyone who's rocked with us this season. I want to thank you guys for both jumping on the podcast. Appreciate the time that you put in. BJ rocking here with me every day. CT jumping in as well.
Sure.
It's all love every time. The podcast is not going anywhere, even though the season is done. No, the pleasure is all ours. The podcast is not going anywhere, even though the season's done. We've got the NBA draft coming up. There's a lot of prospects to talk about. We've got free agency, and there's going to be a whole bunch of trades as well. So don't miss a single episode. I can see BJ's already not looking forward to talking about the off the court stuff, but BJ, free agency is around the corner.
This is where Mo carries me. Mo carries me in the offseason.
No, this is where
all over.
Hey, Mo, what do you think?
This is where we make the money, because I was talking to someone today, right? Game 4 was one of the lowest watched NBA Finals games in a while, right? I've got the numbers here. The second lowest viewership since 2007, when it was the Spurs versus the Caps, right? And it made me realize that fans, aside from our amazing listeners who are dedicated to the Hoop Genius podcast that truly love basketball, the masses of fans care more about the storylines and the rumors and the gossip than they do about basketball. So we'll be welcoming them in over the summer as we talk about free agency and all that good stuff. But we appreciate each and every one of you, whether you love basketball, you love the rumors, whatever it is, we're here for you. So make sure you subscribe on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast from. Subscribe, leave a rating and all that good stuff. And we'll be back with more. We're not going nowhere. So appreciate you, fellas. Make sure you get some rest. I know it's getting late over there. You guys ain't cut off for the late nights like I am over here at 5:20 in the morning right now. So
You're doing it.
You guys get some rest. We'll be back. BJ, what are we saying? We're going to take 1 day off? We're going to take 2 days off? Or are we going to be back at it tomorrow? You tell me.
We'll be back at it. We'll be back at it every day. Every day.
Back at it. All right. We'll see you nice and early tomorrow then. In the meantime, my great people, have a blessed day. Denver fans, I hope you enjoy celebrating. Arsenal fans, it was a tough year for you, but maybe you could become Denver Nuggets fans. CT, send my best to the squad. I know you're going to be trying to get to the parade and celebrate with the guys. So enjoy it. Most importantly, get buckets.